Alrighty, everybody, how's it going?
It's going great, thanks.
Right, so as I'm here for anyone who has, I'm sure you've already kind of gotten the idea, but so I am from Snail here in China, and unfortunately, I guess TeamSpeak doesn't work in China apparently.
That's
So
weird.
I'm using a VPN right now, and so I actually won't be able to see much of the stream because of connectivity issues, but we can just chat, and I can see little bits of it, and yeah. So I'm here just to answer any questions you guys have from you guys playing or any of your viewers. Just I'm here to basically just be the voice of the company. If you have any questions or any thoughts you want to talk about, just I'm here.
Sounds good. I'll be asking questions in both in-game chat and Twitch chat.
Great.
Give me a second. So we had a first question here.
All right.
It was Spooky from one of my guildmates. He was asking if there's any plans on implementing a spectator system in Balanced Arena in the future.
Right. I think I might talk to Spooky about that. I think in the forums, and we don't have that specific function planned, but we do have obviously stuff for the future, and that's a cool idea. So I like that. That sounds really cool. In the near future, a lot of the things we're going to be doing are more adjustments about things in the game, but that's sounds like a pretty cool idea, and you never know. We could always look to implement that in the future. So. Actually, that's something I wanted to say to anybody who's here watching your stream. That if you guys have suggestions, we love the suggestions. And actually, the in-game GM function, if you guys could throw all your suggestions in there or on the forums, that would be really cool because that's a great way for us to get it all collected in one spot. So, for example, things like that, like the arena spectator mode, that'd be pretty sweet. Throw something like that into the in-game suggestions, and we'll take note of that.
Sounds awesome. Another question that came up just now in the Element chat in-game. And it comes from username Marlov. Yuki, can you ask if there's any plans to add new content / cap level and maybe merge servers when open beta ends?
A lot of the details are still being worked out here at our offices, but actually, there definitely is new content coming. I'm a little bit, hand-tied in what I can say specifically, but we're going to be putting out more news about what the new content is. But I mean, we've already mentioned before that there's new races, two new races, the Euperians and the Auric. Those are coming in the future. We also have plans for some new classes, new carriers, just all kinds of cool stuff coming out over the next few months. We don't have a specific date for when those will be coming out, so that's where I can't be too specific, but we do have plans for that. As far as server merging, that's something that we're going to have to just deal with when we get a little bit closer to the full release. Because our hope is to maybe even expand. We don't have specifics in terms of what kind of server expansion we're going to have, but that's something we'll just have to address when we get closer to that time, depending on all the different things that, like how many people we have in getting servers and stuff like that. Because I have heard that the people say they'd like to see the mergers or the servers merged, but those are things we'll have to. Those will be things more for maybe at the end of the year, more in autumn and winter. We'll be making changes there.
Definitely, the game hasn't been long enough, not for long enough to even consider mergers right now. That's what I thought myself. God, we've got some more questions coming up.
Yeah, I see that over here.
It came from username Yolt Perry. Will there be any changes to the dungeon queue system? It takes ages to get a team at the moment. Something like random queuing, perhaps?
Right. So we've got a number of changes to the UI and a lot of the different because there's a lot of different game features. There's the arenas and there's the instances, which is what you're talking about, the dungeon queuing. There's all types of different things, and right now they all have sort of separated UI. There's different hotkeys for each of them to bring up their own menus, and in the future, again, no specifics in terms of when that's going to happen, but it's actually already implemented in the China version. That'll actually all be combined into one big user interface, and so you'll actually be able to queue up for any of those at the same time. So the queuing system will change, and it'll actually allow you a little bit more opportunity to kind of see, like, available teams that you can join into, as well as random matchmaking, stuff like that.
It's really good. Back to the classes you mentioned earlier, there's actually some rumors going on there being additional 6 classes being planned right now. Could you give us an insight on that?
Yeah, well, the specifics of when and what types of classes are going to be added are, again, a lot of the things I'm going to have to say are just going to be like, well, they're being worked out, the details. But actually, the plan for right now, as we're looking at it, is that when we add the 2 races, we're not sure how many classes we'll add at that time, but we'll add some more classes along with that. And as you know, right now, every race actually has 9 classes they can play as, 3 of which are crossover ones. And when we add the new races, they're going to have, again, their own set of sort of 6 alignment classes, the standard 6 that we have, and then a different kind of assortment of other classes. So actually, right now, for example, what is it? You can still be, for example, a Punisher if you're, I want to say for Etonians. I can't remember exactly what the different combinations are. Well, when we add the Auric and the Euperians, they'll have their faction-specific classes and some new classes as well, and they'll also have another kind of mix and match pattern of different classes. So what those classes will be, we don't have a lot of specific details right now, but there will be more healers, there will be some new types of DPS stuff, and then probably some new, we'll probably just see more classes around the board. From what we've seen already coming out of the dev team.
Definitely looking forward to that myself. Today, somebody actually asked me a question, asked me to forward a question for you, and it was regarding current, seems to be bound imbalance, perhaps I should say battle carrier imbalance between 2 factions.
Right. That's something that we kind of get some feedback on that, and we obviously, for both classes and battle carriers, have a lot of plans to make little adjustments as necessary, because obviously you can put something in numbers when we make it, and notice it doesn't necessarily play out the way we think it will. Actually, statistically, their power in terms of their armor and their attack are actually fairly balanced. But as a lot of people pointed out, okay, well, sometimes the scheme might have an advantage because they have better ranged attacks, for example. But a lot of those are actually, we noticed that Irlander fans will say that the Eisenhorst is overpowered, and then the Eisenhorst fans will say the Irlander battle carrier is overpowered. So, we are going to make appropriate adjustments, but sometimes it's a little bit like, once you play both sides, you see that they do actually have advantages. People point out, for example, the raid carriers for both sides are very light and they're very fast, whereas the Eisenhorst one has a long range attack. The Irlander one has a closer range attack, but its closer range attack also doesn't have a reload period or a cooldown. So it actually has a different, once you get in close, you can actually dish out a lot more damage when you're up close. So it does actually kind of create different playing styles depending on which faction you're playing for. But all the same, we are always making little adjustments and little changes. Those happen during some of the updates that we do from time to time. But, at the same time, we hope people will remember that if you only play for one side, you never know. Maybe the other side might have a different opinion.
Yeah, as they say, the grass always seems greener on the other side. So here's another question that we got, and it's regarding classes and guild names. Are there any of the classes? That's a weird worded question. Rephrase that. Will be gonna have any nerfs to the classes or buffs anytime soon? And also, are there gonna be the possibility of guild name changes
Well, first, it's a couple of different questions, obviously. So as far as with the classes part, do have plans in probably one of our first major updates because we've run out of maybe I don't know once a week or once every week and a half. We try to roll out little quick fixes of things that like bugs people run into, but we also have plans for some bigger updates to come before the actual full launch of the game. And I think that around that time we'll probably see some adjustments to the classes. I know I can't say from what the developers have already said, but I can say just from what I already know that, for example, Geomancer, a lot of people point out they feel it's a little bit overpowered for PvP. Though, again, actually, I just read a really interesting article by some of the fans, the different. Actually, I think you might have been in on that conversation on the forums, Yuki, but it was about difference between like occultist and geomancer as a healer, and they have their own advantages and disadvantages between the two. So we'll see specifics. Probably geomancer will get a little bit of a PvP nerf just because it's been quite powerful. We've seen, but and then as far as the guild name change, I can see that happening. That's actually again, if that's a suggestion that fans would like to see, if they think I made my guild, I want to change the name, then they can make a suggestion of that in the in-game GM chat or on the forums, and we could always look to implement that because we're pretty responsive as far as what fans are asking for. We'll put things in there. We already have a name change function, and we're working to try to fix the issue with the deleted names thing that came up kind of early on in the beta test. Actually, we don't have specifics on the dates yet, but soon enough we'll be able to implement the character recovery thing. So there's a bunch of different things going on in the near future, and if you guys make suggestions, we can always look to implement those.
Sounds really good. So, Scalera to Scoro. There is a way to communicate with players from the other faction, and it's either by using the region chats, if you're in the same region as the player from the other faction, or you could simply use the ranking chat if you have access to it. For that, you have to be in top 3 in either of the ranking tables, ranking charts. We can get any more questions.
Well, if we don't have any questions just this moment, let me ask you one, Yuki. If there was, let me just say, in terms of the game, what would you say if there was one thing that you'd really like to see, something maybe new content-wise, something really interesting, just from your personal opinion or from what you've talked to other players and your guildmates? What kind of stuff would you like to see, just so we can get an idea of moving forward? From some of our main fans, what kind of stuff would you like to see in the future?
I'm personally a very PvP-oriented player, and I love the PvP content at the moment, and honestly, the only thing I would like to see is more open-world PvP in the game. Currently, there's not much of open-world PvP going on, other than sometimes meeting players during the adventures, like Caravan as an example. Other than that, there's not much of open-world PvP at the moment.
Right. Well, that's a good point. We've always tried to, balance that so that maybe fans who aren't so into that aren't just being bombarded from every direction. We love open world PvP, and that's a big part of the game. Moving forward, when we start to open up some of the new maps, and actually I think this answers a little bit of a question I saw in the chat earlier, that there are plans to eventually raise the level cap also. So when you get to these parts, there will then be some contested maps that basically the quest line that you would go through to go through leveling yourself up to that new level cap will basically take the players from each faction to the same area, which when we think is going to be pretty cool, where it leads to a lot more of a mix of both questing with PvP in the open world, which is obviously a big part of the game.
Personally looking forward to the new maps, especially the large southern peaks.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of maps still to come, and we're going to be rolling those out kind of like piecemeal over time. And we even have sort of tentative plans already in the works for even opening up possibly future content in like different continents, or even like invasions that might pit the two sides temporarily together against an invading force. We've got all kinds of cool ideas floating around the office right now, and that's going to be looking at more towards the future, long distance. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
So another question we have here. In the future, are we actually going to be able to see how many players are playing on each server? As an example, having a counter that shows online number of players on different servers would be amazing.
Okay, yeah, you mean like in the game client, when you like load it up, maybe? Is that what you mean?
Be amazing. Right now, there's no way to tell however many players are playing on the server than other than actually playing on the server yourself.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, there is obviously the part next to it that says whether it's relatively light traffic or whether it's kind of a really busy server. But even so, you're right. There's not much of a detailed information. So absolutely, we'll take a note of that. We'll make a plan for maybe. We'll see how easy that would be to implement. That might again be something a little bit structural that we'll be looking for the future. But that's a cool idea, and we'll think about that.
Are there any plans for changing the battleground rewards at the moment? Seeming currently they are simply not good enough and people aren't doing the battlegrounds. I'm talking about the 10v10 and 25 to be precise, 25v25.
Right, right. So these would be, as opposed to the military battlefields, these are the other battlefields, the unmounted battlefields.
Correct.
Again, that's the thing. That's a tricky one because the military battlefields, we've seen obviously people really enjoy. You get to use your battle carriers, and they have that incentive that you want to level up your military rank. We are trying to figure out some things we could do for the battlefields, like smaller ones, the 10v10 and the 25v25. Maybe creating a system again, like what we were talking about with the instances, like a better matchmaking system, so that people will actually do it. And like you said, creating higher rewards could also be a good solution for that. So that's any specific plans for that right now. But again, we're kind of entertaining a lot of different ideas to try to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to do whatever game features they want, especially as we deal with varying levels of player activity.
Gotcha. One more question here, and it's a very specific class question. Are there any changes coming to Spellsword class
Any specific
from
changes
user
to the
chaos?
Spellsword class? I don't know of any specific changes to Spellsword class unless we have. I mean, we've seen a lot of different feedback from fans. I actually saw in the forum people having a spirited debate as to whether or not the spell sword is a good class or not. What kind of changes are we looking, or is the question regarding, like making it stronger, making it weaker, or what's the situation that fans are curious about?
Oh, I actually know the person that asked the question personally, and he feels like the class is very weak at the moment, which I strongly disagree with. PvP point of view.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how you use them, I guess. And that's really all the classes depend a lot on a combination of balancing what kind of stats you're looking to use for them. So it's really talks about playing your play style. And then also, like every different class has different types of range or close range or crowd control. I mean, the spell sword, I'm trying to think if they have, because I have played the spell sword, but it was a while ago. I feel like they have a lot of really great kind of mid-range DPS. Like, yeah, you got to get in kind of close to use them effectively, and that can be challenging, I suppose, especially if you're playing against a range class. But I can understand how some people might say it has its challenges, but I think that's just part of the game. But any specific types of changes that people want to see, like, oh, the spell sword needs to be stronger, oh, the geomancer needs to have a nerf on that one, area casting heal attack that just kills everybody. Those things are the things we'd love to hear. So specifics like that, throw it into the suggestions or throw it on the forum, and we'll make a note of it and try to implement it.
I totally agree with you on that one. Everyone has a different opinion on each class. I personally think every single class in the game currently is basically as it's supposed to be. People, as an example, say that geomancers are strong, but honestly, they are supposed to be strong. They don't have much damage, but they have the ability to heal the whole group, which is their primary objective.
They're a healer, and that's obviously what they're supposed to do. And a lot of people point out that in a PvP arena, for example, the Geomancer has a healing. I forget what I think it's called. Has a 2-second cooldown, which is like, oh, okay, that's great. That's really hard to fight because it's a 2-second cooldown. But you use up your magic value quite quickly. So actually, once it's out, it doesn't have a lot of regenerative, unless you have like maxed out on Spirit, which is a trait that actually makes you recover your magic power faster. Unless you have that maxed out, like it's actually quite difficult once you run out of magic to really recover it. So I mean, you point that out. If you can survive the first minute and a half fighting them, then maybe it's not quite such an unbalanced fight. And then in an instance, that's not quite as good as, for example, the occultist has some really great chaining type of healing abilities. So there's a lot of different, like you said, they play very differently.
A lot of questions about the classes imbalance still coming in, but I'm actually gonna answer them right now. The classes definitely weren't meant to be balanced towards a 1v1 combat, seeing as this is faction versus faction game. Classes are balanced more towards group PvP than they are towards 1v1 PvP chaos. So that some classes might seem stronger than others in 1v1 combat because of that. As Professor Hogwash said, there are changes to the classes coming, and they are to be coming soon. Yeah, we have a very interesting question here. It's coming from a player called Mengs. Will there be an implementation of fashion items for crafters? Are we gonna see any fashion items?
Sorry?
Basically, are we gonna see any fashion items being able to be crafted?
Actually, I'm not 100% sure, to be perfectly honest, because that's one of the things we are looking to add in more fashion items, and we're looking to add in more customization into the fashion items, both for yourself and for your battle carrier. So, little sneak peek. I can't say any confidence when this is going to be implemented. It will be later this year, probably around the time, or just at full release, which again will be later this year. But we are looking to add in a feature where you can actually customize skins for your battle carrier. That's something that we have coming out. Specifically for crafting fashion items, I'm not sure, but again, that's a cool suggestion, and that's one thing that we can look to implement moving forward. So all these suggestions are cool. If Mungs wants to post that in the forums, or possibly send an in-game, excuse me, an in-game suggestion to the GMs, we would love to hear that. We can look to put that into our plans for the future.
That sounds really good. Looking forward to it. Another question just came in. Will there be a different way to upgrade items other than those selected on in the upgrade specialist? This person is referring specifically to the level 40 set that you get from a subplot quest in Dilanda town in Theodia, which is currently the only viable endgame set in the game.
Right. I don't think that we're going to change the system for upgrading. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough now. All right, excuse me. I drink of water. I don't think that we have any specific plans to change the system for upgrading, but we're obviously going to be adding more gear. I mean, for one thing, right now, you're talking about endgame gear. Well, the endgame gear is all level 40. When we do eventually then raise the level cap, well, then we'd obviously be adding more gear there. And when we get at upgrading, I mean, there are a number of different ways. You're talking about upgrading them through the upgrade specialist. There also are, what's the term for them? There's the soul upgrade things that you can get. You can actually buy those from the Valor Quartermaster, and you can craft them depending on your each of the different crafting professions has different ones that you can use. As long as it's a bound item and it's of a certain level, you can then upgrade certain stats. So you can get this little, I feel that it's called the soul upgrade, but I'm not so sure that's right. But you guys, I think you might know what I'm talking about. The thing that you use, and you can just pick up on an item, and you upgrade a particular stat. So that's still available, and that's going to be a system that's expanded. And of course, there's also gem insetting. I know some people like and also dislike different features of that system, but as you create higher level gems, they give you certain stats, and you socket them into your equipment to add, higher crit rate or higher fire elementalism damage and stuff like that. There's all kinds of different types of things that you can do through gems and through other types of upgrades. And then, of course, there's also, like you said, the upgrade specialist. So I think that the whole system will become a little bit more complicated when we add more equipment, which will be coming when we also then add in a lot of the new features like new classes and all the other stuff at full release.
Yeah, that sounds really good. If we can get any more questions. Whoever's watching this stream, guys, feel free to ask any question regarding future of BGO. Currently hosting Professor Hogwash, which is a community manager for Snail Game China. Chaos, regarding faction balancing, we already touched on that subject about 5 to 10 minutes ago. Changes are coming, we just don't have a specific date for them yet.
Can I ask what guild are you in, by the way? Again, I remember you mentioned something about your guildmates. What guild are you in?
I'm currently the leader of guild called Hentai, which stands for perverts in Japanese.
Right, your hentai. Nice. Great. How is your guild doing? How you guys doing so far?
Doing great. We thoroughly enjoying the guild system and alignment wars right now.
Yeah, you guys. I really wish I could be in game right now. I could check these things. Have you guys controlled or captured any energy wells? Because I've been trying to loosely follow the back and forth of Montel in that way, but I wasn't sure if you guys were part of that yet.
Actually attempted that a couple of times, but haven't succeeded yet, unfortunately. Currently a bit of a quarrel going on our server between multiple guilds, so it's not easy right now. The system, the war between guilds, the system's just great. We thoroughly enjoyed, as I said previously. The bad thing about the alignments and Veil Wars right now is on how players can actually get through the gates without destroying them by simply flying over on their mounts and dismounting. An example. I was actually gonna touch on that subject earlier, but I have forgotten about it. Basically, are there any changes coming to the guild battle system, especially the Well Wars time?
Well, in terms of what you specifically just mentioned, the issue of people flying over the gates, no, there wasn't any change to I think that's actually just kind of the fun of the strategy because
True.
They fly over the gates once they're in. What are they going to do? They're 1-2 people. They can't summon their battle carriers just willy nilly. So it's not like they can fly over and then summon a siege and then knock the energy pillars over. So
I was gonna.
I think that what's mostly sorry.
I was gonna mention that there's currently the way to glitch through the gates with your battle carriers, even the ground ones. I'm not sure if this has been reported yet to the GMs. So I'm just gonna say it now.
If you do fix it.
Go ahead.
But also, in addition, so first of all, I want to again touch on any glitches, any bugs people find, things that are not working correctly. Totally throw that in the in-game GM function, and we'll get right on it as soon as we possibly can. Because that's one of those types of things, something like you say, where they can glitch their way through the gate, that we want to fix that as a priority. And then longer term stuff, as far as what we're looking to add in for the energy well system. When we put out new content in the future, there's going to be more energy wells. There's also going to be, again, I can hint very lightly at this, the idea of aquatic combat using new, like, basically boats, aquatic battle carriers, and there will even be an energy well that will use that specifically, as well as being able to use pretty much anywhere where you find water.
That sounds
so
really good.
There's a lot of cool things coming, both in terms of general gameplay and energy wells. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. Again, that's going to be one of those things that's coming more towards full release. But yeah, so those are some of the things that we're looking to change. And I think we're also looking to make some adjustments to the reward system, just little things here and there in terms of who gets what for what in these energy well battles to put, more power and more, I guess, benefit into the hands of the individual players, as well as also giving, a lot of power to the guild leaders in charge.
Question regarding servers right now. Are we going to be able to actually switch servers in the future using as an example, black gold currency? Something of the sort?
I'm not totally sure on that one. That's again, something that if enough fans are interested in, we could look to implement some kind of system for that. So yeah, that's one that I'll make a note of it right now, and then if you guys ever have enough people who are interested in that, throw it in as a forum topic, and we can always just get enough people rallied behind it to see if that's something we're interested in. A lot of different things we know that fans maybe want to switch servers or change their names and stuff like that, and so those are things that as long as you guys are interested in it, then we can kind of put something together and make it happen. So throw a topic, throw a suggestion to the GM, and that's probably something we can look to do.
Probably gonna mention this. Guys, please, if you have any suggestions regarding the game, there's a subsection on forums called Watering Hole. Just put all of your suggestions there, or simply use the in-game GM messaging system. Give your suggestions about the game. A gold spammer. That actually gave me an idea for a question. Are there any future plans of getting rid of the gold spammers? I know it's virtually impossible.
Yeah,
the gaming experience.
Actually, we're in the process of doing that right now. We were trying to get the system that we're trying to implement. We were trying to get it in ahead of time for this recent update, but it just wasn't quite ready. But we're looking to implement soon enough a couple different systems for example, some people were using, because the gold spammers were basically they had bots to auto do the quest so they could get to a high enough level to get into the chat function. We also had some people who were basically using bots to mine resources and one-kill them, one-kill bosses, or go into instances and one-kill bosses and get all the gear and stuff like that. And so we're looking to put in a system that'll block those, and so that should be out. That should be ready soon. And we think that will radically decrease the number of gold spammers. And then there's also, you should see our team. I was watching them the other day. We just find, groups of all players who just have like random letters for their names, camping in an area, just not doing anything. And we've just been like eradicating them, just GM function, taking them out, getting rid of them. And so we know that there's going to still be gold spammers no matter what we do, but we're working to get that under control and greatly reduce that.
Sounds sounds really good. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the game. There seems to be no more questions coming in, so perhaps you've got any questions towards your community?
Well, I already asked what was something that you would be interested in seeing. I guess, you know, I don't specifically have any questions. If I think of any, I'll throw them at you. But again, just anytime you guys have anything you want to talk about, we do really want to apologize about all the forum problems. We had basically a server change basically on our side that was leading to some glitchy problems where people were getting logged out of the forums. But that has all been fixed, and now anytime you guys want to talk about anything, just go on the forums. I'm on there just about every day. And also, I want to make a point that if we don't respond to you on the forums, it does not mean that we're not reading it. There is just a finite amount of time and effort we can put into answering every particular report and every particular idea. But just know that we put all of that into basically a feedback folder that we go over and talk about as a team. So don't hesitate ever to just go on the forums, start a conversation or a topic to talk about these things. Any questions or ideas or thoughts you guys want, because that's what it's there for.
Guys, if you want to bag Hogwash on the forums, just make a post with hashtag Hogwash or something of the sort in the title, and he'll definitely get on your case.
Yeah, I see Mungs here in the Twitch chat talking about with Holy Shield about the those bots by the Dominion Underground. That's actually, I think that's specifically the one that I was talking about. That we went in, we found all the bots, and we basically just knocked them all out. Some of them have, again, they've got some pretty tricky software backing them, as like how they're able to get around. And so we're working around that and fixing those. But we think that those will all get pretty much filtered out soon enough with we've got this new system that we're implementing soon.
Remember, you can't completely eradicate the spamming bots. That's been proven in multiple games throughout the centuries.
For time immemorial.
Always get around it somehow, but hey, who knows, perhaps someday we'll actually get rid of them completely. Question came in from Spooky Preditioner. Are there any plans on making the block list bigger? Currently it can host on currently there can be only 30 people on your block list, if I'm not mistaken, which is fairly small with the amount of bots we currently have in the game.
Yeah, well, we know that's obviously right. Absolutely, that's something that well, we're definitely, hopefully, going to have a system that will allow us, once we get all the bots out, that then we can actually clean out everybody's blacklist, so that you don't have that. That's not all full of just random bots, so you can actually block or filter people you actually don't want to talk to that are human beings. But as far as expanding it, that's another thing that we could look to do. I think our main priority right now, in terms of dealing with
Hang on a second, guys, we have an issue on the stream. Hogwash's VPN just cut out. Currently in China, which doesn't allow him to connect to our TeamSpeak.
Timed out.
Some awkward reason, but he should be back soon enough. I cannot really answer you this question. That probably won't happen due to a simple reason that there will be a lot of griefers and well, people would abuse their GM powers too much. Having a volunteer GM.
Hey, wake up.
That's he's back. I think nope, never mind. So yeah, Mangs, as I was saying, that will definitely never happen. Most GMs that work for a gaming company / publisher usually sit in the office instead at the publishers or the game developing company. Their actions are monitored. If you have a volunteering GM, there's just bound to be a lot of power abuse. Yeah, just like Holy Shield said, just like game sages from earlier games. That's how it would turn out. Thanks, they do it in other games and it usually turns out horribly. Prime example, game sages from earlier games.
User was moved to
All
your
right, you
channel.
guys hear me?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Guessing the VPN cut out.
More or less, it actually, the VPN itself wasn't so much as it was just, I think my internet cut out. I might have just run out of bandwidth, to be honest. But I'm just here in my home and I don't have a high-speed connection, so.
Gotcha.
But that'll happen. But I don't honestly remember what we were just talking about when this cut out. I was in mid-sentence and then I heard you say his VPN cut out, and I was like, what? And then it stopped working. So yeah, what were we talking about? We're talking about, I think, had something about spam bots, I think, but
You were definitely talking about the bigger blacklist.
that's right, the bigger blacklist. So what I was getting at was that our priority is on getting the bots basically just out of the game, which I know that we'll never get them completely out, but I have a dream, so. We're going to put in systems that'll help basically prevent that from being such a big problem. And then after that, I think we'll probably try to do something like basically just wipe everybody's block list. I know that some people might actually have real people they want to block, in which case they can reblock them. But I think our plan is so that all these dead bots are no longer cluttering up your block list. But if it continues to be a problem and we need to expand it, then I think that it wouldn't be too difficult. And so again, as long as that's what fans are looking for, I think we could probably expand the block list. It's something that is lower in our priority list than just fixing the problem, but it is something that we've already heard and talked about, and we could look to see that in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Seem like anyone has any other questions so far?
Now, I can't actually see what you're doing. I tried watching the actual Twitch, and I just again, the internet's too slow. What have you been up to? What level are you? Tell me about Yuki a little bit. I know that you're high ranked in a lot of areas. Let's hear what's happening in the world of Yuki.
I'm currently level 40, and I'm just running around meaninglessly on the map while talking to you. times queuing up for Arena.
Well, so yeah, I could also just point out as a reminder to everyone that this weekend, basically, this past couple weekends, we've been having in-game, well, we had a lot of in-game events, and one of them right now is that the Frenzy Weekend is the double experience, double reward system for certain activities. So right now, it's for dungeons, not the instance dungeons, but the open world, the Chambers of Greed dungeons. Those are the hidden ones. So if anybody who's getting in the game later over the course of this weekend is looking to get some cool gear or some good experience, any monster you kill, you get double experience. Every treasure chest you find, you get better gear. It's just a weekend event that we've got going on. So that's just kind of like our special thing for this weekend.
Personally, we'll definitely be making the most out of it.
Yeah, and that's another question to ask that I could ask of the community is as we move forward, we are looking to think of more fun community-based events to do to interact with both fans and then us on the team. So any suggestions people have for types of things they'd like to see happen, like another arena weekend like we did last weekend or anything like that, suggestions that we're open ears, wide open, again, just on the forum or right now or anytime that you guys have suggestions. We'd love to hear it.
I heard today that you also have another QA coming up at, was it 8 p.m.?
Yeah,
Yes,
to get, we have some more streamers we've been working with. Just again, if people who are in different time zones or just are on later also want to join in, I have information about them. We've got just 2 more people later tonight. That'll be my morning tomorrow. But yeah, so we've got let's see, we've got LaQuestions and the Bearded Gamer will be on later in the day. Also still Saturday by at least U.S. time. I think that might already be Sunday in the UK. So yeah, so we'll have some more streamers and we'll continue to do events like that moving forward. Anytime fans want, we can hop on a stream and have a chat.
Yeah, people who joined late to the stream and missed out on the previous conversation, I'll definitely be highlighting the stream and posting it on forums so everyone can just watch it from the very beginning. Seeing as we don't have any more questions coming in, I guess I won't be taking any more of your time today.
No, that's all right. That was just, my relaxing evening here in very rainy southern China right now. I guess you probably get a lot of that as well in the UK.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me. Again, anytime you guys want to contact me or just our team generally, we check the forums very regularly. We also have our official Facebook page, which I personally, as well as other members of our team, look through the messages and look through the posts just to see what people are saying. Also, I'll occasionally be in-game, again, with the whole latency issue of being on the other side of the world, not as often, but I am Professor Hogwash there as well, or it's actually just Prof Hogwash, so you guys can always look for me there. And I'm actually in both servers. But yeah, if you guys ever want to reach out to us, we're always looking to interact with our community. We love you guys. You're the reason we breathe, you're the reason that we get up in the morning. So I will hopefully see a lot more of you guys in the future. check us out on the forums anytime you want, and we'll be putting more information out about the game in the future. And I see someone popping up asking how long the OBT is going to last. It's going to last all the way until full release. It will be. We don't expect to have any downtime. We don't think we will. We're basically going to put out a full release thing, which is a major update of the game that will be later this year, before the new year. We're fairly certain. Again, that development schedule is still being worked out in detail, but that's what's going to be coming out for later this year.
That sounds very good. Thank you for
Thanks so much, you guys. You guys have a good rest of your time in the land of Montel. I'm jealous. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.
thank you very much for coming over and answering our questions. Had a very good time asking you those questions, definitely. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
You.
You are definitely more than welcome to come over on our TeamSpeak whenever you feel like it. Thanks.
Sounds good. I will see you guys around Montel.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm disconnecting now.
Okay.
User disconnected from your channel.
QA is now officially over. I hope he answered all of your guys' questions. Because we clearly did not have any more questions coming in. If you do have any further questions, feel free to ask them on forums. Professor Hogwash is actually quite active on forums. Checks forums on a daily basis. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you in the game. Also, I'll be streaming some PvP later on today, but right now I simply have to take a break. See you later. Peace.